A study from Columbia University found that a single bottle of water contains around 240,000 tiny plastic fragments floating inside it. 90% of those particles are nanoplastics, small enough to cross into your bloodstream and accumulate in your brain. A February 2025 study from the University of New Mexico found that human brains now contain 50% more microplastics than 8 years ago, and brains of people with dementia contained up to 10 times more. The FDA has zero enforceable limits on microplastics in bottled water, zero limits on PFAS, the forever chemicals linked to cancer, and nearly half the bottled water sold in America is just filtered tap water marked up 2,000 times. In this video, we're exposing the 8 brands you need to stop buying immediately, from federal felony convictions to a brand that poisoned children with rocket fuel chemicals. Plus 5 brands that are actually safe. Let's get into it. 8. Aquafina. Starting at number 8, Aquafina is the best-selling bottled water in America, holding roughly 13% of the entire market. Millions of people reach for it every single day at convenience stores, airports, and vending machines, assuming they're getting something clean and premium. But in July 2007, PepsiCo was forced to add a small label to every Aquafina bottle that reads Public Water Source. The abbreviation PWS now appears on the label. Why? Because Aquafina is tap water, municipal tap water that gets run through a 7-step purification system and sold back to you at roughly 2,000 times the original price. To put that in perspective, your city charges around half a cent per gallon for tap water. A single 20-ounce Aquafina at a gas station costs about $1.50, which works out to nearly $10 per gallon, for the same water that was already flowing through the pipes in PepsiCo's facility. The Environmental Working Group gave Aquafina a D grade for transparency, noting the company provides minimal information about what's actually in the finished product. PepsiCo fought the labeling requirement for years before public pressure finally forced the change. And even then, they buried the disclosure in the smallest print legally allowed. The FDA's own regulations under 21 CFR 165.110 allow companies to label municipal water as purified water without any obligation to disclose where it originally came from. Aquafina is the poster child for an industry built on selling you something you already have at home. 7. Dasani. At number 7, Dasani follows the same playbook, but somehow manages to make it worse. It's Coca-Cola's bottled water brand, and just like Aquafina, it starts as municipal tap water. But after filtering the tap water, Coca-Cola adds back a blend of magnesium sulfate, potassium chloride, and sodium chloride. These mineral additions are what give Dasani its distinctive taste, but they also bring the pH down to about 5.6, making it roughly as acidic as black coffee. For a product marketed as pure, refreshing water, that's a detail Coca-Cola doesn't advertise. But the real scandal happened across the Atlantic. In 2004, Coca-Cola launched Dasani in the United Kingdom with a massive marketing campaign. Within weeks, independent testing revealed that 500,000 bottles were contaminated with bromate at levels between 10 and 22 parts per billion. The legal limit was 10. Bromate is classified as a suspected human carcinogen, and Coca-Cola had to recall every single bottle. The embarrassment was so severe that the brand was permanently withdrawn from the UK market. Coca-Cola reportedly lost £25 million on the failed launch. British media had a field day pointing out that Coca-Cola was essentially bottling London tap water, adding minerals, contaminating it with a carcinogen in the process, and then trying to sell it back to Londoners at a premium. The Environmental Working Group gave Dasani a D grade, and yet more than 2 decades later, Dasani remains one of the most purchased bottled waters in America. 6. Nestlé Pure Life climbing. To number 6, Nestlé Pure Life, now owned by Primo Brands after Nestlé sold off its North American water business, earned its spot on this list thanks to one of the most alarming microplastic studies ever published. In 2018, researchers led by Sherry Mason at SUNY Fredonia tested bottled water from 11 major brands. The results were published in Frontiers in Chemistry, and Nestlé Pure Life had the worst numbers of any brand tested. On average, their bottles contain 930 microplastic particles per liter. but one individual bottle tested at 10,390 particles per liter. That's not a typo. Over 10,000 plastic fragments in a single bottle of drinking water. Across the entire study, 93% of all bottled water samples showed some level of microplastic contamination. But Nestlé Pure Life consistently topped the charts. And here's the bitter irony. The Columbia University study published in January 2024 found that the most common type of nanoplastic in bottled water was polyamide, which is nylon. Where does nylon come from in bottled water? The filtration systems themselves. The very process these companies use to purify your water is introducing plastic particles into it. The researchers at Columbia noted that the 7 plastic types they searched for accounted for only about 10% of the nanoparticles they found. If the remaining particles are also plastic, the true count could be in the tens of millions per liter. A 2025 meta-review from Concordia University confirmed what the individual studies were suggesting. People who drink bottled water regularly ingest up to 90,000 more microplastic particles per year than people who drink tap water. And a January 2025 study from Ohio State University found that bottled water contains roughly 3 times more nanoplastics than treated tap water. Nestlé Pure Life is also, predictably, tap water, marked up between 1,400 and 2,400 times the original cost. You're paying premium prices for tap water that comes with a bonus serving of plastic. 5. Topo Chico. At number 5, Topo Chico has become one of the trendiest sparkling waters in the country, a staple at restaurants, bars, and backyard gatherings, especially across Texas and the Southwest. Coca-Cola acquired the brand, and its popularity has exploded in recent years. But in November 2020, Consumer Reports tested 47 different bottled water brands for PFAS, the group of synthetic chemicals known as forever chemicals, because they never break down in the environment or in your body. PFAS have been linked to cancer, thyroid disease, immune suppression, and reproductive harm. Topo Chico tested at 9.76 parts per trillion for PFAS. That was the highest of all 47 brands in the study. To put that in context, Consumer Reports recommends a threshold of just 1 part per trillion. The EPA set a federal limit of 4 parts per trillion for public tap water in April 2024. Topo Chico exceeded both of those benchmarks by a wide margin. After the report went public, Coca-Cola installed new filtration equipment. A 2021 retest showed levels had dropped to 3.9 parts per trillion. That's a 60% reduction, which sounds good until you realize it still left Topo Chico among the highest testing brands on the market and still just barely under the EPA's tap water limit. But there's another problem most people don't realize. The FDA classifies carbonated waters as soft drinks, not bottled water. That means sparkling brands like Topo Chico are technically exempt from the already weak contaminant limits that apply to still water. So even the minimal oversight that exists for regular bottled water doesn't cover your Topo Chico. A separate University of Birmingham study in October 2024 tested 112 bottled water samples from 87 brands across 15 countries and found PFAS in 63% of them. This isn't just a Topo Chico problem, it's an industry problem. But Topo Chico tested the worst. 4. Starkey Spring Water. At number 4, Starkey Spring Water is sold exclusively at Whole Foods, which is owned by Amazon. It's marketed as premium spring water sourced from Idaho, and the price reflects that positioning. Whole Foods shoppers tend to trust what's on those shelves. The store's entire brand identity is built around the idea that their products have been carefully curated for health-conscious consumers. You're paying a premium because you believe someone has done the homework for you. But in late 2016, over 2,000 cases of Starkey were recalled after testing revealed arsenic levels around 12 parts per billion. The federal limit is 10 parts per billion. Arsenic is a known human carcinogen with no safe level of exposure according to many toxicologists. That recall should have been the end of the story, but it wasn't. In April 2019, Consumer Reports ran their own independent tests and found Starkey consistently hitting between 9.48 and 10.1 parts per billion of arsenic. Consumer Reports' own recommended threshold is just 3 parts per billion, meaning Starkey was testing at more than 3 times what their experts consider safe for regular consumption. In August 2019, a class action lawsuit was filed against Whole Foods. In June 2019, legal notices under California's Proposition 65 demanded that Starkey carry cancer and reproductive harm warnings on its labels. And yet Starkey remains on Whole Foods shelves to this day. The company's strategy is straightforward: stay at or just barely under the 10 parts per billion federal limit. Technically legal, but when you're buying premium-priced water at a store that built its entire brand on health-conscious products, technically legal arsenic levels is not what anyone walking through those doors expects to find in their water. 3. Peñafiel. At number 3, Peñafiel is a Mexican mineral water brand owned by Keurig Dr Pepper, one of the largest beverage corporations in the world. In April 2019, Consumer Reports published test results showing Peñafiel contains 17 to 18 parts per billion of arsenic. That's nearly double the federal limit of 10 parts per billion. For a product sold in supermarkets across America, those numbers are alarming on their own. But the real scandal is what happened behind the scenes. The FDA knew about Peñafiel's arsenic problem since at least 2013. In 2015, the agency placed Peñafiel on an import alert, which sounds like aggressive enforcement, but in practice meant almost nothing changed. The brand continued importing and selling in the United States through 2016, 2017, and 2018, moving an estimated 2 million cases with double-digit sales growth year after year. 6 years. The FDA knew for 6 full years that this water contained nearly double the legal arsenic limit and never forced a recall, never pulled it from shelves, never issued a public warning. It wasn't until Consumer Reports published their findings in April 2019 that Peñafiel finally issued a voluntary withdrawal the following June. Not a mandatory recall, a voluntary withdrawal. The distinction matters because a recall implies the company was compelled to act. Peñafiel only pulled its product after journalists did the job the FDA was supposed to be doing. This is a textbook case of regulatory failure, and it raises a question everyone drinking bottled water should be asking themselves. If the FDA won't act on arsenic levels nearly double the legal limit for 6 years, what else are they not catching? 2. Crystal Geyser. At number 2, Crystal Geyser is a brand millions of Americans grab without a second thought. It's cheap, it's everywhere, and the name suggests something pure and natural. But in January 2020, CG Roxane, the company behind Crystal Geyser, pleaded guilty to a federal felony for illegal disposal of arsenic-contaminated wastewater. This wasn't a labeling issue or a marginal contaminant reading. This was a criminal conviction. For 15 years, Crystal Geyser's bottling facility in Alancha, California, was dumping wastewater laced with arsenic into what employees literally referred to as the arsenic pond. By 2013, the arsenic concentration in that pond had reached 8 times the hazardous waste limit. In May 2015, over 23,000 gallons of that contaminated water were illegally discharged directly into the local sewer system. When federal prosecutors built their case, they found a pattern of deliberate concealment. The company knew exactly what it was doing and chose to dump toxic waste rather than pay for proper disposal. CG Roxane was hit with a $5 million criminal fine and 3 years of federal probation. No individual executives faced criminal charges, and the problems didn't end with the conviction. Consumer Reports in 2019 named Crystal Geyser as one of 6 bottled water brands testing above 3 parts per billion for arsenic in the actual water being sold to consumers. The Environmental Working Group gave Crystal Geyser an F grade, the worst score among the top 10 selling bottled water brands in the country. In April 2024, yet another class action lawsuit was filed, this time over microplastic contamination. This is a company with a federal felony conviction for environmental crimes that is still selling water to millions of Americans every day. The label says natural, the criminal record says otherwise. 1. Real Water, and at number 1, the worst bottled water brand in modern American history. Real Water. This isn't a story about trace contaminants, misleading labels, or slow-moving regulators. This is a story about children being hospitalized with liver failure and a woman dying from drinking bottled water. Real Water was a Las Vegas-based brand that marketed itself as alkalized water with supposed health benefits from a proprietary ionization process. The branding was slick, the claims were bold, and people trusted it. Then in November 2020, 5 children were hospitalized with acute non-viral hepatitis and liver failure after drinking Real Water. One 69-year-old woman died. In total, at least 18 people became seriously ill, 21 were hospitalized, and 1 person never came home. When FDA investigators finally examined the company's production facility, what they found was beyond negligent. Real Water's ionization process involved running water through titanium tubes connected with jumper cables in a crude makeshift apparatus. This setup was introducing hydrazine into the drinking water. Hydrazine is a chemical compound used in rocket fuel propellant. It's classified as a probable human carcinogen and is extremely toxic to the liver, which is exactly why children's livers were shutting down. The FDA issued a consent decree in June 2021, and Real Water ceased all operations. But the legal aftermath has been staggering. Jury verdicts have included $228 million in October 2023, $130 million in January 2024, $3.1 billion in June 2024, $5.2 billion in October 2024, and $3.8 billion in March 2025. Total jury awards now exceed $12 billion, though the company filed for bankruptcy and the families who lost loved ones will likely never see most of that money. Real Water is the absolute worst-case scenario of what happens when an unregulated industry allows a company to put rocket fuel chemicals in water bottles, poison children, and kill a woman, while the agencies that were supposed to prevent this did nothing until it was far too late. After everything you just heard, you might be ready to swear off bottled water entirely. And honestly, that might not be the worst idea, but not every brand operates like the ones we just covered. These 5 have the testing transparency, the sourcing integrity, and the track records to actually earn your trust. And you'll notice a pattern with all of them. Natural spring sources with long geological filtration, published testing data, and glass bottle availability. That last point matters more than you might think, because every study we've discussed today found that the plastic bottle itself is a major source of contamination. 5. Voss glass bottle. Starting our safe list at number 5, Voss sources its water from an artesian well in southern Norway. The water has very low total dissolved solids and minimal sodium content, producing an exceptionally clean taste profile. It comes in one of the most recognizable bottles in the industry, the cylindrical glass design created by Neil Kraft, the former creative director at Calvin Klein. And that glass is the key detail here. Multiple studies have confirmed that glass bottles produce 0 BPA leaching and eliminate the microplastic contamination that plagues every PET plastic bottle on the market. A Saudi Arabian study comparing glass and plastic containers found significantly elevated BPA levels in sunlight-exposed plastic bottles, while glass bottles showed absolutely none. Voss has no major FDA recalls or contamination events in its history. One caveat worth mentioning, a 2010 Norwegian television investigation suggested the water source may not be dramatically different from local municipal water. But given what we now know about plastic contamination, the glass packaging alone puts Voss in a different category from nearly everything else on store shelves. 4. Acqua Panna. At number 4, Acqua Panna comes from natural springs in Tuscany, Italy, where the water undergoes a 14-year natural filtration process through limestone and volcanic rock before it's ever collected and bottled. That's not marketing language or a rough estimate. It takes over a decade for water to travel from rainfall to the spring source. Acqua Panna is part of the S. Pellegrino Group, and its sister brand San Pellegrino recorded the lowest microplastic count of any brand in the 2018 SUNY Fredonia study. Just 30 particles per liter compared to Nestlé Pure Life's 930. Acqua Panna's mineral content includes calcium at 31.5 milligrams per liter and magnesium at 6.5 milligrams per liter, both naturally occurring from the geological filtration, and it comes in the classic glass Vichy-shaped bottle, eliminating plastic leaching entirely. For still water drinkers who want natural mineral content and decades of consistent quality, Aqua Panna delivers what most premium water brands only put on their labels. 3. Icelandic Glacial. At number 3, Icelandic Glacial is sourced from the Ölfus spring in Iceland, one of the most pristine natural water sources on Earth. The water scored 90 out of 100 on the Oasis Water Quality Rating app, the highest score among widely available bottled water brands. It has a naturally alkaline pH of 8.4, and that's important because the alkalinity isn't achieved through chemical additives or ionization gimmicks like the ones that got Real Water's customers hospitalized. It occurs naturally from the volcanic rock filtration that the water passes through before reaching the spring. Independent testing has shown no detected PFAS, extremely low contaminant levels across every category tested, and the brand offers glass bottle options for consumers who want to eliminate plastic exposure entirely. Iceland's geographic isolation and some of the strictest environmental protection laws in the world provide a level of source water purity that brands bottling in industrialized regions simply cannot match. There are no factories upstream, no agricultural runoff, no compromised aquifers, no history of chemical dumping. Just volcanic rock, glacial water, and one of the cleanest environments left on the planet. 2. Mountain Valley Spring Water. At number 2, Mountain Valley Spring Water has been in continuous operation since 1871, making it one of the oldest bottled water brands in the United States. The water comes from a single protected spring in Hot Springs, Arkansas, where it filters naturally through granite aquifers over an estimated 3,500 years. The company owns over 2,000 acres of protected forest surrounding the spring to prevent contamination from ever reaching the source. Mountain Valley's reputation is unlike anything else in the industry. It has been served in the United States Senate since the 1920s and was the water of choice for every president from Coolidge through Clinton. Elvis Presley had it delivered regularly to Graceland. The company's 2025 water quality report showed non-detect results for arsenic, lead, mercury, all PFAS compounds, all volatile organic compounds, and all pesticides tested. That's a clean sweep across every contaminant category, which is extraordinarily rare in this industry. The mineral profile includes calcium at 65 to 70 milligrams per liter, with a naturally alkaline pH between 7.3 and 8.1, meaning you're getting beneficial minerals from thousands of years of granite filtration rather than chemicals added in a factory. And critically, Mountain Valley has always sold primarily in distinctive green glass bottles, completely sidestepping the microplastic and chemical leaching issues that define most of the bottled water industry. There is one note of caution. A 2025 class action lawsuit claims independent testing detected trace arsenic and uranium, which contradicts the company's own published data. That lawsuit is unresolved, but Mountain Valley's 150-year track record and published testing transparency still place it far ahead of nearly every competitor on the US market. 1. Evian. Taking the number 1 spot, Evian sources its water exclusively from the French Alps, where rainfall and snowmelt filter naturally through layers of glacial sand and rock over a period of 15 years before reaching the protected source. That slow natural filtration is what gives Evian its mineral profile, including calcium at 80 milligrams per liter and magnesium at 26 milligrams per liter, without any chemical treatment, reverse osmosis processing, or artificial mineral additions. Evian conducts over 300 quality tests every single day at its source and bottling facilities. The brand submits to third-party verification through NSF International, one of the most respected independent testing laboratories in the world. Evian holds B Corp certification and maintains membership in the International Bottled Water Association, which requires adherence to quality standards that exceed what the FDA mandates. The water earned a 76 out of 100 on the Oasis Quality app. In glass. Bottle versions are available for consumers who want to eliminate plastic exposure completely. The only notable blemish on Evian's record is a 2020 finding by Swiss researchers who detected trace amounts of chlorothalonil, a banned fungicide, in the water. The levels were minimal and removable by standard filtration, and the finding has not recurred in subsequent testing. Beyond that, Evian has no major FDA recalls, no enforcement actions, no arsenic problems, and no contamination scandals. In an industry where we've just seen federal felonies, rocket fuel in children's water, and regulators asleep at the wheel for years at a time, Evian's combination of natural 15-year geological filtration, daily testing, independent verification, and available glass packaging makes it the most trustworthy, widely available bottled water you can buy. There you have it. 8 brands built on tap water markups, arsenic cover-ups, federal felonies, and in the worst case, rocket fuel chemicals that killed a woman and hospitalized children, plus 5 that actually deliver clean, tested, trustworthy water. But here's what the bottled water industry really doesn't want you to know. The Environmental Working Group tested every type of drinking water available and gave only one option in A grade. It wasn't Evian, it wasn't Mountain Valley, it was filtered tap water. A quality home filter, either reverse osmosis or activated carbon, removes more contaminants than any bottled water brand while completely eliminating the plastic exposure. It's also a fraction of the cost over time. If you do buy bottled water, remember 3 rules. Choose brands that actually publish their testing data, buy glass bottles whenever they're available, and look for natural spring sources with long geological filtration rather than repackaged municipal tap water with a pretty label. And never ever leave plastic water bottles sitting in a hot car. Studies from Arizona State University found that at temperatures above 150 degrees Fahrenheit, which the inside of a parked car can easily reach in summer, antimony and BPA leaching from PET plastic accelerates dramatically. If this changed the way you think about the water you drink every day, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next investigation, because this is just the beginning of what the food and beverage industry is hiding from you. I'll see you in the next one.